Hello everyone, my name is Elspeth, you're watching the Planeswalker Pantheon, and today we are opening up a collector's booster box of Strixhaven School of Mages. Enough chit chat, let's get right into it, shall we? Alright, so for those of you who aren't familiar with collector boxes, they are basically Wizards' way of printing the special shiny stuff all in one convenient pack. But with Strixhaven there's a little bit of a twist. With Strixhaven, we actually get access to some of the Japanese alternate artworks of some of the cards in the Mystical Archive. Anyways, let's get down to it, shall we? There's our box right there. I'll just leave that like here. Alright, first pack. We're just going to go through the foil commons and uncommons and read any rares, mythics, that we can find. And, of course, the Mystical Archive cards, because they aren't in the normal set. Got our foils here. Our first rare is a land. It's Hall of Oracles. So, for a single... it's a land that taps for colours. You can pay 1 to tap to add 1 mana of any colour. Or you can tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you cast an instant or sorcery this turn, actually. We'll just do this real quick. Commons, uncommons, and our foil lesson. Our first full art is Trudge Garden, so I believe this is from the Witherbloom Commander deck. So for 2 and a green, you get an enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 4/4 green fungus beast token with Trample. And our next full art is Double Major. So for a red, green and a blue, you get an instant. Copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary. And our first Mystical Archive card is actually one of the Japanese ones. I just need a quick moment to find out which one it is. I believe this one is... this one is Village Rite. So for a single black, it's an instant. As additional costs, sacrifice this creature. And then you draw 2 cards. And we've got a Compulsive Research as our first normal Mystical Archive card. So for 2 and a blue, you get a sorcery. Target player draws 3. That player then discards 2 cards unless they discard a land. Ooh, and we've actually got a foil for, I believe this is Grape Shot, actually. So single red sorcery. It deals 1 damage to any target, and it has Storm. I'll just double check if that is in fact the card that I'm thinking of. Yes, I believe that is Grape Shot, because I've got a foil Grape Shot right there. Oh no, this is Shock, sorry, not Grape Shot. Jeez, I should be trying a little bit hard, but that's a foil Shock right there. We also got a foil full art Manifestation Sage. So for 4 blue-green, Simic Hybrid, we get a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, we get a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in hand. And we get a foil token right there. You know what, on second thought, I'm not going to try and work out what those Mystical Archive cards, I'll just leave that as a surprise, unless I immediately recognise it. Because to me that looked like a lot like Grape Shot. Alright. Our commons. Our uncommons. Oh, we got a foil rare here. It's in Equitress Orik Budlord. So for 1, a white and a black, we get a legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 2/4 with double strike. It has Magecraft, so whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And it also can be Awaken the Blood Avatar. So for 6, a black and a red as a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. If spell costs 2 lasts to cast for each creature sacrificed. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a 3/6 black and red avatar token with haste. And whenever this creature attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. That's a good one to hit. Oh, we got Gyro Master Chef. So this is one of the commanders also in the Witherbloom Commander deck here. So for 2 black and a green, you get a legendary creature Troll Warlock. It's a 5/3 trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Pay 1 and sacrifice a food. Target creature gains indestructible and tap it. Alright, so there's that. Oh, we've got a Wandering Archaic. So for 5 mana, get a creature avatar. It's a 4/4. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy a spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And it also can be Explore the Vastlands. So for 3 mana, 3 mana sorcery, each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card or an instant or sorcery, then puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. We've also got a Mystical Archive Cultivate, so for 2 and a green you get a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put one into the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Shuffle your library. This one is Approach of the Second Sun in the Japanese Mystical Archive. We've also got a foil Adventurous Impulse. So a single green sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library, you may reveal them. Reveal a creature or land from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. We've also got a foil full art Nulled Professor. And we've got a Fractal and Inkling token in that one. So only one Japanese Mystical Archive card in that one. I'm not after any ones in particular, but, you know, I just think they're really cool. Alright, so our commons, our uncommons, and our foil rare is Callous Blood Mage. So for 2 and a black, you get a creature, Vampire Warlock. When it enters the battlefield, you choose one. Create a 1/1 green and black pest token. You draw a card and you lose life, or you can exile a target player's graveyard. Our full art card is another one from the Commander decks. It's Perplexing Test. So for 3 and 2 blue, you get an instant. Choose one, return all creature tokens to their owner's hand, or return all non-token creatures to their owner's hand. We have a Draconic Intervention, so for 2 and 2 red, you get a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. It deals X damage to each non-dragon creature, where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage so it would die this turn, exile instead, and you exile the intervention. This one is Claim the Firstborn in the Japanese Mystical Archive. We have Mizzix's Mastery, so for 3 and a red you get a sorcery. Exile target card that's an instant or sorcery from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, copying it, and you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Exile the Mastery, and you can overload for 5 and triple red. Ooh, we've got a foil Whirlwind Denial right there. That looks... Man, these foil Mystical Archive cards look really cool, actually. And our full art foil rare is the Restorative Burst. So for 3 and double green, you get a sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature, land, or planeswalkers from your graveyard to your hand. For each player gains 4 life, and you exile the burst. Or it can be Pestilent Cauldron. So for 2 and a black, you get an artifact. Tap to discard a card, create a pest. 1 and tap to have each opponent mill cards equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. And 4 and tap to exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. We've got a Spirit and a Pest token. Alright, next. Alright, so we'll flick through our commons. Flick through our uncommons. Oh, we got a rare lesson here. Actually, a mythic rare lesson, sorry. So 7 mana, it's a Mascot Exhibition. So for 7 mana, you get a sorcery lesson. Create a 2/1 white and black Inkling token, a 3/2 red and white Spirit token, and a 4/4 blue and red Elemental Creature token. So you get all of them except for the Fractal. We got a Dragon's Guard Elite, so for 1 and a green, you get a creature human druid. It's a 2/2 with Magecraft. Whenever you cast a copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the Elite. 4 and double green, double the amount of +1/+1 counters on the Dragon Guard Elite. We have an Ink Shield, so this is from the Strixhaven Commander deck. So for 3, a white and a black, you get an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented, create a 2/1 black and white Inkling token with flying. We've got the full art land of Vineglimmer Snarl. So as Vineglimmer Snarl enters the battlefield, you may reveal a forest or an island card from your hand. If you don't, Vineglimmer Snarl enters the battlefield tapped. We have Claim the Firstborn as our Mystical Archive card. So for a single red, you get a sorcery. Gain control of target creature with mana value 3 or less until the end of turn. It gains haste until the end of turn. Ooh, so this one I believe would be Brainstorms. So that's really cool. I'm just guessing by the art at this point. We've got a foil Revitalize. So for 1 and a white, you get an instant. You gain 3 life and draw a card. And our full art card is Crackle with Power. So for triple X and 2 red, get a sorcery. It deals 5 times X damage to each of up to X targets. And we've got a Fractal token and a Rowan Skull of Sparks token. Emblem, sorry. Alright. Our foils. Our uncommons, and whoop, we got a foil Kasmina Enigma Sage. So for 1 and a green, blue and a green, you get a legendary Planeswalker Kasmina with 2 loyalty. The static ability says each other Planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina Enigma Sage. You can +2 to scry 1. You can -X to create a 0/0 green and blue fractal token and put X counters on it. Or you can search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this Planeswalker and exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So that's our foil rare there. Oh, we got a Yadora Gravegardener. So for 4 and a green, you get a legendary creature tree for a druid. I believe this is in the Witherbloom Commander deck. It's a 5/5. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, it may return to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It's a forest land. We've also got Exponential Growth. So for 2X and 2 green, you get a sorcery. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X times. Oh, that would be an Agonizing Remorse there in the Japanese Mystical Archive. We have an Ephemera. So for a single white, you get an instant. Exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and you can rebound it. We've also got a foil Thrill of Possibilities in the Mystical Archive set. So for 1 and a red, there's an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, and then you draw 2 cards. Oh, and we've got a foil Fury Calm Snarl. It's the rare cycle of lands to this set. Enters tapped unless you show a plains or a mountain. And we've got our token right there. Alright, next up. Alright, there's our commons, our uncommons, and our lesson. Oh, this is from the... Oh, actually, no, this is from the main set. It got Elemental Expression. So for 4, is it hybrid? You get a creature, Orc Wizard. It's a 4/4 with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, choose target creature you control. Until end of turn, it gains. If this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And when you exile this creature, you get a 4/4 blue and red elemental token. So that's pretty cool. We've got a Rousing Frame, which is actually from the Commander decks. I believe this is... Actually, I don't know which deck this one's actually from. So for 3 and 2 red, you get a sorcery. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand until end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Exile the refrain with 3 time counters on it, and you can suspend it for 1 and a red. I believe this is in the Prismari deck. We've got a Selfless Glyph Weaver. So for 2 and a white, you get a creature human cleric. It's a 2/3. You exile the Glyph Weaver. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Or it can be Deadly Vanity. So for 5 and triple black, you get to choose a creature or planeswalker, then destroy all other creatures and planeswalkers. Got an Agonizing Remorse as our Mystical Archive card. So for 1 and a black, you get a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, or a card from their graveyard. Exile that card, and you lose 1 life. Ooh, I believe this one is Tendrils of Agony. So for 2 and 2 black, you get a sorcery. Actually, no, I don't think this is actually Tendrils. I actually don't know what this one is offhand. Let me very quickly find out, because I actually do not know. Yes, this is Tendrils. I was right on the first run. So, it's a storm card, basically. And we've got a foil Divine Gambit. This is actually the one I picked up the cool sleeves for, because this art is really cool, even though I hate this card because it just does not work. And we've also got D-Spark. So for a white and a black, you get an instant. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. I know I said I was going to try and guess, but if the card comes to me, I'll try and work it out. Anyways, next up. Alright, so our commons, our uncommons, and our uncommon lesson. Our first four rare is Accomplished Alchemist. So for 3 and a green, you get a creature elf druid. It's a 2/5. You can tap to add 1 mana of any color, or you can tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of life you gain this turn. We've got an Archaeomancer's map in the full art. So for 2 and a white, you get an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you search your library for up to 2 basic plains cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if that player controls more lands than you, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Got Venerable Warsinger. So for 1, a red and a white, get a Spirit Cleric, Vigilance and Trample. It's a 3/3. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of damage it dealt to that player. Got Opt as our Mystical Archive card. So for a single blue, instant, draw 1, scry 1, draw 1. Oh, we got a Crozen Grip there as our Japanese Mystical Archive. We also have Duress. So for a single black, you get a sorcery. When an opponent reveals their hand, you may choose a non-creature non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Oh, and I believe this is a foil Urza's Rage. So for, I won't say what it does, but yeah, this is the foil Urza's Rage from the Japanese Mythical Archive. I don't want to quote cards and realise I get them absolutely wrong. Alright, I'll just grab those last packs out of there. Alright, next one. Thankfully, though, some of the cards I kind of can recognise from the text. I do understand a little bit of Japanese, but not well enough to actually be fluent. Alright, so our first foil rare is Flame Scroll Celebrant. So for 1 and a red, you get a creature human shaman. It's a 2/1. Whenever an opponent activates an ability that isn't a mana ability, it deals 1 damage to that player. For 1 and a red, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn, or it can be an instant for double white, which is Revel in Silence. So for 2 white, you get an instant. Your opponents can't cast spells or activate Planeswalker loyalty abilities this turn. Exile Revel in Silence. We've got Oversimplify, which I believe is from the Quandrix Commander deck. So for 3, a green and a blue, you get a sorcery. Exile all creatures. Each player creates a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and puts a number of +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the total power of creatures they control that were exiled this way. Got a full art Conspiracy Theorist. So for 1 and a red, you get a creature human shaman. You may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, you draw a card. Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile 1 of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn. Got a Japanese Divine Gambit right there from the Mystical Archive. Got Putrefy. So for 1, a black and a green, you get an instant destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. Ooh, and I believe this is a foil Strategic Planning right here. That's a nice one. Ooh, and we've got a foil. Oh, this is real dark. For the full art, Confront the Past. So it's a sorcery lesson for X and a black. Choose 1, return target Planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, or remove twice X loyalty counters from a target Planeswalker an opponent controls. And we've got a Spirit and an Inkling. Thankfully, because the Mythical Archive cards, when looking at both the Japanese and the English, because they use mostly the same brief, you can roughly tell what they are. Alright, so our first foil rare is Poet's Quill. This is from the Commander deck, I believe. No, it's from the main set. I haven't seen this card. For 1 and a black, you get an artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you learn. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink, and you equip it for 1 and a black. We've got a full art Inspiring Refrain. So for 4 and 2 blue, it's a sorcery. Draw 2 cards, exile Inspiring Refrain with 3 time counters on, and you can suspend it for 3 turns for 2 and a blue. We have a Silver Quill Silencer. So for 1 and a white and a black, you get a creature human cleric. It's a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with the chosen name, they lose 3 life, and you draw a card. This is the Japanese Duress, and this is probably one of my favourite artworks from that. We've got a counter spell. So for 2 blue, you get an instant counter target spell. We've got a foil Claim the Firstborn, which I've already read. We've got a foil Ephemerate. So for 1 white, you get an instant, which I believe I've already read as well. I've got to remember which ones I've read and which ones I haven't. Alright. our commons, our uncommons. Oh, we've got a rare lesson in academic probation. So for 1 and a white, you get a sorcery lesson. Choose one, choose a non-land card name. Opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name until your next turn. Choose a target non-land permanent. Until your next turn, it can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. We've got a Retriever Phoenix, so for 3 and a red, you get a Creature Phoenix. It's a 2/2 with Flying and Haste. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, learn. As long as it's in your graveyard, if you would learn, you may instead return Retriever Phoenix to the battlefield. Got a Pest Infestation, so for 2x and a green, you get a sorcery. Destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments. Create twice that many black and green pest tokens. We have, a full art body of research. For triple green and triple blue, you get a sorcery, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. We have a Thrill of Possibility. I believe this is Day of Judgment, which is a really nice bit of artwork from the Japanese Mystical Archive. I actually don't know what this green one is. There's a couple of green spells in here, and I believe this is Adventurous Impulse. I might be wrong, but that one's really cool in foil. And we've got Electrolyze in foil as well in the Japanese Mystical Archive. That one actually pops really nicely. And we've got a Spirit and an Inkling. I believe, though, there was 2 cards that had their art briefs accidentally swapped. I can't remember which 2 cards, but yeah, the Japanese ones have kind of a weird flip-flop. Anyways, commons, uncommons, lesson. We got a foil Vanishing Verse for white and a black in an instant. Exile target monocolored permanent. Got a Tempting Contract, so for 4 mana, you get an artifact. This is from the, I believe, the Silver Quill commander deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token as well. We've got a full art Bibliopax, so it's a land that taps for a colourless, or you can pay 2 and tap to look at the top card of your library. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may reveal and put in your hand. If you don't, you may put into the graveyard instead. Activate this if you control exactly 0 or 7 cards in hand. We have a Defiant Strike. So for 1 white, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and you draw a card. We've got a normal Electrolyze in the Japanese Mystical Archive. I believe this could be Agonizing Remorse. I might be wrong. I'm not going to look it up, but yeah, we got that one in foil. And we've got a foil full art Prismari command. So for 1, a red and a blue, you get it at an instant. Choose 2. It deals 2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2 cards and discards 2. Target player creates a treasure token or destroy an artifact. Got a Pest and a Fractal token, and this will be the last pack. Our commons, our uncommons, a lesson. We've got a foil Fury Calm Snarl. We've got a Replication Technique. So for 4 and a blue, you get a sorcery. Demonstrate. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. We have a full art Efreet Flame Painter. So for 3 and a red, you get a creature, Efreet Shaman. It's a 1/4 with double strike. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. We've got a Japanese strategic planning in the Japanese Mystical Archive. We have a Day of Judgment, so for 2 and 2 white, the sorcery, destroy all creatures. We've got a foil Negate right here. That looks really nice. So for 1 and a blue, instant counter target non-creature spell. This is the Swords to Plowshares as well. That's real pretty. And we've got our token. Alright. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I actually forget, I do happen to have another one of the pre-release codes. So if you haven't redeemed one already, you are more than welcome to one of mine. There is the code right there. For those who aren't able to read it, it's 5 Foxtrot 1 Echo 2 332 Beta 9 6 Beta 7 Beta 2 7 9 9 3 8 6 9 6 1 7 if you aren't able to read the code. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, favourite and subscribe. It lets people know that I exist and that I'm creating content. Don't forget to comment as well. You can follow me on Twitter. The links are down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.